it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
1, 2, 3, move it.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you, join Hans and Scotty today at RGS Exteriors from noon to 3, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Maybe you're like Christian, you don't have any gutters at all? Maybe you've got leaky ones.
Christian made his own and put them up.
He did?
A disaster, yeah.
He mold his own aluminum?
He tried to. But he just tried to do it by hand. You know what I mean? He didn't have like a stamp. He didn't have a big press that put him into shape. It's just pouring water into his house. That's why you got to go to the pros.
Well, you're a real DIY person. Would you make your own gutters?
I would not.
Would you stucco your own home?
No.
I don't know. You poured concrete for a patio or something last year. That's a pretty major project.
Laid bricks, which is not that hard to do. I did replace vinyl siding on my own house. That was...
You did?
It was like it was a single panel.
Oh,
you watch a 4-minute YouTube video. I didn't do it the whole siding. The whole house would have looked crooked. It would have looked like a, Roald Dahl book, house imagining. But no, I was proud of that.
Joining us now, he is an analyst.
He's not ready.
Oh, he's not ready. Apologies.
We'll wait on Nick Olczyk.
I just imagined,
I'll tell you
apparently,
some other
in my
house
brain,
projects I did.
Christian saying he's ready.
Hung a mirror the other day. It was kind of a pain. It's always a pain. Anytime you got to drill into the wall, I know I'm going to make an error. I know I'm going to make a mistake. Inevitably, I'm going to tear a hole in the sheetrock.
And you did?
Well, we had a plant that has this really long vine that was going over the mirror, kind of over the top of it. And we were pulling. We have to have these little sticker things that hold the plant vine in place. And as we were pulling those off the wall, it just ripped all the paint inside and drywall out. So.
And you created more work for yourself.
Yeah, so I had to go buy a bunch of plaster yesterday.
All right, joining the show now. He is an analyst for the Utah Hockey Club. He's nice enough to join us once a week. He's our buddy, Nick Olczyk. What's up, Nick?
Jake and Ben, great to be with you guys. I know the weather is beautiful out there in Salt Lake recently, but I am poolside in Tampa Bay right now, so don't be too jealous of me, all right?
Oh, poolside, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, that doesn't sound bad at all. It's lovely here, but we are not quite poolside yet. So,
hey, Nick, can you talk to us about the culture of Tampa? It seems to be not the city, the team. It seems to be one of the premier franchises, and it has drawn a lot of praise, including recently from Coach Bear.
Yeah, I think it always starts at the very top with ownership and Mr. Vinnick down here in Tampa, who owns the Lightning. His amazing job creating a culture and a place where players want to play because they get taken care of. Their families get taken care of first and foremost, and that's what's most important to these players. Accommodations at home, I think that's really where it starts. And then once that's the foundation, then the rest of the attractions, you'll say, happen. And then, of course, that happens. You attract good players, and when good players all want to play together, win, and you win for a long. They've arguably been, a top team or the top team in the league for the last 5, 6, 7 years, including the back-to-back Stanley Cups that they won, pretty recently. And I think as far as the team makeup goes, they have such a good balance. And then head coach Andre Turney referred to it the other day, as you guys had said. And, they have the of and Victor Hedman on the back end, and the guy that goes by the affectionate name of Big Cat in between the pipes, Andre Vasilevsky, who is likely to play in goal against the Utah Hockey Club tomorrow night. But for all the superstars that they do have, they have other guys that complement them so well. A guy like Brandon, who set a career high in points, over 75 this year, but he's more of a straight-ahead type of player. Go to the net, score goals that way. He's going to play hard. He's going to be physical. They got guys like Anthony Cirelli, who made Team Canada and was an incredible depth center for them. It's not always, flashy, but, they find a way to get the job done. And I think one thing that Tampa does so well, and we saw it last game when these two teams played, for as much skill as they have, they play in the hard areas. They go to the front of the net. They're going to go into the corners and then win puck battles and come out with it and be first on the offensive side. So, they definitely have a model. And he's shown here in recent years. But with that being said, to round it back out in Utah's way, you look what a great steward and governor of the Utah Hockey Club, Ryan Smith, has been, along with his wife, Ashley. You want to attract great players. That's how you do it. It has to start from the very top, and these players knowing that they're going to be a part of a franchise that cares for them as both players, but more importantly, people. And, look, a lot of franchises and a lot of teams could learn from what Tampa's done. And, it's here's.
With all that being said about Tampa, the last time these two teams played, which was only two games ago, Utah Hockey Club won 6-4 and played really well, and then follow it up with an obvious stinker against Detroit, losing 5-1. So explain to me that swing, Nick. Is that just the nature of hockey, or is that the sign of a young team? Give me kind of a look into that.
Yeah, I think I would say that's the nature of hockey. Every game's different, right? And to have the same mindset going into each game, I think is necessary. It's crucial. And Utah took advantage of a goalie that had his first start in the NHL. They put pucks on him early. They got some good bounces. I think the power play looked really strong. And for as many nice goals as they scored, 4 of their 6 goals in that game were scored within 8 feet of the blue paint. And this time of year, when you've got teams that are battling for playoff position or home already, that's where the goals are going to be scored. And you look at a team like Tampa, guys, they're going to make the playoffs. But with where they're at in the Atlantic Division, they're trying to get home ice. And that's the next important thing. The next most important thing is once you're in, okay, now we want to get home ice for the first round. We want to get home ice for the second round. And if you win your division and you have the most points in the conference, then you got it all the way up until the Stanley Cup final until you play, the team in the other conference. So that game, I think what impressed me most was how well Utah got to the inside. They made their plays on the perimeter. They made them on the outside to possess the puck, but then they got to the middle of the ice, and they gave Tampa fits. Now, Tampa does it as well as anybody. So in the D zone, there were stretches where Tampa really pushed the pace, but Utah bent. They didn't break. Yeah, they let up 4, but they found a way to win that game. And then I think against Detroit, I think early, that's the type of game where I look at the power play. They got the one from Dylan Gunther on an incredible pass from Clayton Keller, a no-look pass, but he didn't have to look because that's the setup that these guys run every day, and it's muscle memory. They know exactly where each other are at. But as the game went on, it was a bounce here, a bounce there. It was back and forth. But they had opportunities on the power play to pull closer in that game, to tie the game, or to give themselves the lead on the other 4 looks that they had. It just was a little bit too stagnant, I felt. And as a penalty killer, that's what you want. You want power plays on a lot because then you don't have to move. You're not stretched. You're not pulled. It's easy to kill off those types of power plays. But they did some great work in practice today. Have a lot more movement from down low to up top, in the middle, out to try and push and pull that penalty kill in and out of position to try and get in behind enemy lines. But I think each game is so different. And when I look at the Tampa, they got to the middle, they scored greasy goals. In Detroit, or against Detroit, what's the one thing that kind of let power play, and that they just couldn't find a way to come through like they have in other games this year. And sometimes that's the difference between winning or losing. But you got to find a way here to go on a run. You got 11 games left. You're a couple of points, a couple of wins out of a playoff spot. Okay, well, that's the situation that they're faced with, and we'll see if they can string together a couple of wins, especially in regulation.
Hey, Nick, thank you very much. Enjoy poolside. We appreciate you taking a few minute break for us.
Yeah, get a day off.
Of course, guys. Appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much, Nick. That's our buddy Nick Olczyk, covers the Utah Hockey Club. Yeah, you look at those two results because Tampa is really good, and the Utah Hockey Club played really well against them. And then that game against Detroit where they just got ragdolled.
A couple of weird puck luck goals early in the game. One of them goes off of Lawson Krause's leg and goes right in, and that stunk. And then a really, really fluky goal that flipped over Vemelka's head and into the goal, and they just found themselves down. But they also really were poor in their execution on the power play, so they did not have the best game. And now they're 8 points back of the wild card. I mean, that's how quickly it got away from them. And credit St. Louis, who's won 7 in a row, I think it is. You had to be that team. One of these teams was going to go on a run, as all these teams were 1 and 2 points away from the wild card, or 2 and 4 points away. The team that played the best down the stretch was going to make it, and it has not been the Utah Hockey Club. And as a result, they are not going to make the playoffs. They're 8 points back with 11 games to play. They have not been mathematically eliminated, but it's going to be extraordinarily difficult, not just to catch St. Louis, but there are still other teams in front of them as well. So there's probably just too many names to leap to get there. And you've got to use this now as the last 11 games as a learning experience to try and keep competing. And it's not going to be, I don't think, what they did last year, which gave them an opportunity over these last 25 games, late games in the season, to bring up Cooley, Gunther, Doan, some of these guys that got an opportunity to earn a spot on this year's roster. I just don't think you have time to do that. So be curious how they handle the last 10 or 11 games.
Ben, can I switch gears on you real quick?
Yeah, of course.
We've got What You Got Wednesday, by the way, coming up at the bottom of the hour, so stay tuned for that. Being a reporter, does or even just a consumer of sports media, does the coach's wall bother you?
The one behind Will Hardy?
No. Like, you know how they call it?
They don't cross the line.
They don't, like, what do they call it when police don't talk about other police? It's the blue line, blue wall, or whatever.
Yeah.
The coaches have that same thing, where, like, analysts
Traditionally,
who were coaches will not say negative things about coaches.
Traditionally, yes. Talking about other coaches is off limits.
If it's negative. If it's positive, they'll go on and on. But if it's negative, there's this policy where coaches don't criticize other coaches.
It exists a little bit in radio. You just never know when you're going to need a job from somebody else. So I recognize why they do it.
I'll criticize Lloyd all day.
Sure, right. You already work with Lloyd, so that's fair. The fact that, if Will Hardy were to go out and say, man, this Tom Thibodeau's a real clown. If Will gets fired in 2 years and needs a job, and Tom Thibodeau is still in New York and has an open coaching vacancy, Will would probably like to have that job.
Yeah,
so
but
I think
even
that's where it comes from.
Even people like Jeff Van Gundy,
Yeah.
who's, kind of, I mean, he could get an NBA job.
It's a fraternity.
Maybe not, but
It's a
you know what I
fraternity.
mean?
Yes,
They won't
absolutely.
criticize. So they'll even defend at times. And my least favorite college basketball coach of all time, Seth Greenberg, is taking this to a new level.
Okay.
He is defending Dan Hurley, who, just to recap for you, Dan was talking about the refs hosing them quite loudly in the tunnel, and somebody got it on video. And then the SID for UConn threatened the guy who published the video to take it down, or he would ruin his life.
Right.
All
Ruin your
sorts-
life is a great line still.
I heard Hans and Scotty talking about this yesterday, and Hans was talking about how he once told a producer he'd never work in this town again.
Yeah. Remember that.
Which is funny. But even Hans did not go to the I'll ruin your life card. Hans kept it professional.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's an
kept it
extra line.
within the guardrails.
Yeah.
Well, Seth Greenberg says that the tunnel is a sacred space and should be off limits to media. Now, Ben, there might be circumstances where I kind of would agree with that. I mean, like we talked about the Jazz, they can keep it much more on lockdown. But the NCAA tournament is not that. There's quite literally another team.
Yep.
And everybody that is with that other team, there's media, it's not like when the Jazz go from the floor to the tunnel, they walk by, they can isolate all that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You can't do that at the NCAA tournament. And why would you cover up for somebody's bad behavior like that? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, are you saying that it's okay to act like that? And shame on them for noticing? Again, are you being prosecuted for a crime somebody else noticed?
What I hate about this conversation, and certainly what Greenberg's saying here, is that Hurley did this on purpose. Hurley made a show of this. Hurley brought another team into this saying, I hope you don't get, screwed the same way we did. That's what he was saying. And he did it on purpose to draw attention to it. You can't then be mad, that there are consequences to you saying that. He did that on purpose. He made a conscious decision to say it out loud so another team would hear it. So people would recognize that he said it. He knows what he's doing. Coaches know what they're saying. To your point, crossing the coaching line, the coaching wall, these guys are extremely reserved and well coached and well practiced on how to deal with media. He knows exactly what he was doing. It's not a sacred space. Are there places where it can be sacred? Yeah. The Jazz have parts of the tunnel that are completely blocked off that the media can't go in. They do. They reserve that as a spot that media doesn't get to go in, report on, etc. We're not even allowed in. They didn't do that here. So you're out in the public. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And Hurley did it on purpose because he knew what he was doing. He made a show of it to show up the referees and then was mad that it went out.
Why is Seth defending him?
Yeah, well, because he's a brown noser.
He's an idiot. I get mad every time I see him on TV. That big bald dome. It's like, why would anybody listen to you?
But yeah, this is silly. And you don't need to defend Dan Hurley. Say he was stupid. What he said was dumb. Or say I support him saying it. But you can't be mad that somebody saw him saying
somebody
it.
noticed. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. If you want to say, hey, he had every right to, the refs were terrible, or hey, he shouldn't have said it, I think those are adequate arguments. Saying, I'm mad that you reported it. I don't have any sympathy for him.
Privacy is kind of a funny, undefined thing. But I'm pretty sure that you don't have a ton of right to privacy when there's probably 30 to 40 people in the direct vicinity.
It doesn't happen every night, but it happens close to every night. I have what would be considered, if not an off-the-record conversation with somebody, a private conversation, right? Like every night I'm at a basketball game, I either say, hey, just so you know, I'm not recording this. Hey, can we talk off the record? Hey, just for background. Those are all the terms you use when you're trying to talk to somebody. You let them know. Or vice versa. Sometimes people will approach you and just say, hey, I saw you said this, or hey, just for background information, or hey, just so you know. And it's an indicator that, hey, this is not something I'm asking you to report, or I'm telling you get to report, but I'm just coloring you in on some of the situation. And coaches know how to do it. Owners know how to do it. GMs know how to do it. Players know how to do it. Dan Hurley knows how to do it. If he didn't want this to go out, he has people he leaks stuff to. He has people he talks to. He has trusted media members he will go and converse with. He has people he will talk to about it. He knows when he's doing this, he is specifically not saying, off the record, this is private, this was behind a closed door, etc. So yes, for Greenberg to come out and say that was privileged information. No, it wasn't. He knows how to make information privileged. These guys do it all day long, all the time.
By the way, what do you think about LeBron throwing Screaming A. Smith under the bus on Armpit Show on ESPN?
I haven't seen what he said specifically to Pat McAfee.
He basically implied that Screaming A is soaking up all the attention possible after the fallout of being yelled at.
He said that Stephen A. is on a Taylor Swift-like tour ever since the video came out.
Yeah. Right, LeBron. The same point that we're talking about. You pull Stephen A. Smith aside at a Lakers game, sideline, right next to the front row, and berate him.
During the game?
During the game. And you thought Stephen A. Smith, who's the greatest attention getter in the media right now, maybe outside of Pat McAfee, and may even be better at it than Pat McAfee.
There's a little rivalry there.
Was going to run with it? Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he was going to
do. Correct.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's 100% what he was going to do.
Sorry, LeBron. My only thought is LeBron knows this, and these guys are propping each other up, that they're playing a game to enhance each other and make this conversation
Which might actually
happen.
be true, considering it happened on the day that Screamin' A signed his deal.
Correct. But not to be too tinfoil hatty, but yes, the fact that LeBron, who is generally pretty media savvy, has not gotten himself in a lot of trouble historically by saying stupid things. He's embarrassed himself. The first page of the book thing, all the goofy things LeBron has done that we know about. Usually it's not berating a reporter in public to make himself look bad. So that's the only reason it gives me some pause to think, was this staged? Was this on purpose? Are these two guys who know each other and are old friends and said, hey, let's create something here? I doubt it, but I would leave room for it. So yeah, surprise Stephen A. Smith, who goes on TV all the time with hot takes, got dragged into a conversation, or placed into the center of a conversation, is going to make money off of it? I'm stunned.
All right, stay tuned. We've got What You Got Wednesday. Coming up next is Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
It's that time of year.
The tournament is now underway.
Hey, who do you have going all the way?
What do you have going all the way?
Keep tabs on your selections now by logging on to KSLSports.com and following all the action on the Basketball Mayhem page.
I love college basketball.
It's your chance to win cold, hard cash. The KSL Sports Basketball Mayhem is powered by Omada Real Estate. Download the free Omada app today from the real estate experts as the Stern Team. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Whether it's the Jazz, Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, these guys have got you covered.
Time to eat, fellas.
You're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson
1, 2, 3, move it.
on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Want to remind you to nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week. Submit your nomination at kslsports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to JJ and Alex for the winner. Help us celebrate the efforts of those volunteers making an impact with the Hercules Hero of the Week, sponsored by Hercules First Federal Credit Union and Beehive Meals. All right, if you're new to the show, What You Got Wednesday, we do 2 5-selection drafts. One sports related, one not, and then we put it out for a vote on the Snap Talk. All right, Christian, what's our sports? Actually, what happened last week? We got to decide who's number one pick.
Best college players from BYU, VCU, Utah State, and UCLA. Ben, you won 69-31.
Great.
And then best Bruce Willis movies. Ben, you also won that one, 83-17.
Wow, I got smoked.
I'm on a run. I'm on a roll.
Smoked.
It's the board.
All right.
If you're watching on YouTube, I've got the board out. It has changed the game. I think me having a visual representation has given me a decisive edge.
What is today's sports-related topic?
Today, let's go with most unlikable college basketball coaches. There's
Kevin
a lot.
Young. I think everyone likes Kevin Young.
Oh, there's so many to choose from. Is there an automatic number one pick?
Yes.
I think there is too. Number one, I'm going to go with Bobby Knight.
Old B Knight. You're exactly right.
Easy to hate that guy.
Brown was the wrong color. It chose brown for the marker. It's going to be impossible to see here. Bobby Knight. Is there an obvious number two?
No.
I kind of think it's a little obvious. Give me Jim Boeheim.
Oh, yeah, I hate that guy. I totally agree.
Oh, everyone who's ever been to Syracuse hates him. Everyone who's played for him generally seems to dislike him.
I hate his new commercials.
Yeah.
I hate
Nobody
everything.
likes Jim Boeheim.
No.
Media doesn't like him.
No.
Are there guys who should... Well, maybe we'll talk about this after the list. We'll talk about it. Guys who were on the list who are no longer on the list. I think there are.
I'm going to go with John Calipari.
Okay.
Kind of a phony basketball coach that cheated for a long time.
You know what? Him winning at Arkansas is a good sign for him. That proves the haters wrong a little bit.
I don't know.
I don't know how to spell
Remember,
Calipari.
I was talking about this with our broadcast assistant, Jalen. You remember when Derrick Rose faked his SAT to get into school?
Yeah, Memphis. It's great.
Coach Cal.
You know, he won at UMass, and then Memphis, and then Kentucky, and at Arkansas. Like, at some point, again, he might be Urban Meyer, but he's winning.
Well, he cheated at UMass.
He did.
He cheated at Memphis.
Yes, he did. I'm sure he cheated at
Likely
Kentucky.
cheated at Kentucky. Assuming he's cheating now. Although cheating isn't really cheating anymore, so maybe he's not. All right. Coach Cal.
I'm going to go with a guy right now who has become a main character on our show. It's not an all-timer, but Mick Cronin is maybe...
Oh, yeah. I hate that angry little man.
Yeah. Not in on Mick Cronin. But we like to make fun of him, and we've got good sound of him.
Toughest guy on this team's going to do radio.
The toughest guy in the room is going to do the radio.
I don't know Mick Cronin. Are you the toughest guy in the room? because your players lost a game? Maybe.
Yeah, Mick Cronin. Yeah, he's unlikable. I thought you were going to go with, and I'll just go with the next pick. He's in the news. Dan Hurley.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's a good pick.
hate that guy.
Yeah. I liked him, and then the bit got old.
Nope.
The shtick got old.
I'm out.
No, I probably should have gone there. But I saved my pick for one of my least favorite people right now, who I used to like, but his Auburn thing has gotten corny. Bruce Pearl.
Oh, I've never liked that
I
guy.
kind of liked Bruce Pearl.
Nope. Out.
Out on Bruce Pearl.
All right, I'm going to go. This guy is unlikable for many good reasons. I'm going to go with Bob Huggins.
Okay, yeah.
Nobody likes old Bob.
No, he's on my list. Stop drinking and calling radio stations, Bob. Or whatever happened, but that was not a good look. All right, I'm going to go with, I can't believe I'm getting this in the 4th round. Give me my guy, Jim Boylan.
Okay.
Jim hasn't been liked anywhere. He wasn't liked with the Bulls. He wasn't liked with the Utes, certainly. He hasn't been liked at any of his stops. An assistant with the Indiana Pacers, nobody likes.
See,
Little Jim Boylan.
that is outside the box of what I think the draft is about. Nobody liked Jim Boylan because he sucks, not because he was like.
But he's a bozo.
I
And we
agree.
have a more intimate knowledge of him being a bozo than, yes,
No,
some
you
of
can
these
draft
famous.
the guy.
Yeah,
I just would never consider it. Like Bob Huggins is hateable for all sorts of good reasons, but
Yes.
he's a really good basketball
He is a
coach.
really good
All these
coach.
guys were picking win a ton of games.
Let's see. Hall of Famer, 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 Hall of Famer. I don't know if Cronin gets to the Hall of Fame.
I doubt
But
it.
yeah, Cronin and Boylan, non-Hall of Famers, to your point.
Well, Cronin's like the fastest coach to 500 wins ever.
He is.
So
He could get there. He's not there right
I
now.
think everybody hated Boylan because he was a huge bozo. I don't know if I'd throw, Jim Boeheim is a detestable human being.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think he's a bozo. But whatever, draft Boylan. I'm
Yeah.
fine with it. Whatever you want to do. See, this next one could either get me a ton of votes or might lose it for me.
All right.
But I'm going to go with Coach K. Most the country hates Duke. What bugs me about Coach K is it's the Lance Armstrong thing.
Yeah.
It's you obviously were cheating just as much as the next guy.
Yes.
But somehow you're considered
Personality, your
above the
persona.
fray or
Yeah.
whatever, and you walk around like oh, I don't have to cheat. I'm Coach K.
Yeah.
Sure you don't. But there's a lot of people that love him too, so maybe that loses it for me.
I considered him on my list. I did not end up going with him, but I did consider him on my list. I'll just go with the guy we were just talking about, Sean Miller. Sean Miller was
Oh,
hated at
sweaty
Arizona.
Sean. Yeah, I hate that guy.
I'll go with Sean Miller. I get your Coach K thing.
His act is obnoxious.
Yeah. So, recap.
Jake, you had the number 1 pick. You went Bobby Knight, John Calipari, Dan Hurley, Bob Huggins, and Coach K. Ben, you went Jim Boeheim, Mick Cronin, Bruce Pearl, Jim Boylan, and Sean Miller.
The name I was thinking of that maybe no longer applies because he's somewhat become more likable is Tom Izzo.
I
Izzo
think
has
he's-
become a little bit like an old guard that people like.
See, I think he's always been liked.
Okay. Can I see your eraser there? I forgot to bring an eraser.
That's what the video stream is for.
All
Bringing
right.
you guys closer together.
Well, Jake and I are a team. We don't always like each other, but we're a team.
Well, I'm just a Boy Scout. I was prepared. All right. What is our next? What is our non-sports related topic?
Non-sports today. Let's go with favorite Nepo baby actors.
I didn't get to 10 here, so I hope you don't overlap too much.
This is in honor of Kate Hudson. Both Ben and I are watching her new Netflix show, which is about she's the president of the LA Waves, which is supposed to be like the Lakers, but it's produced by what's her name from The Office, and it's kind of funny.
Mindy Kaling.
I don't know. I mean, I watched the rest of it yesterday.
To be clear, I accidentally walked into my parents' house while my mother was watching it. I'm not actively watching it, but
It's not.
the
You know
same
what?
applies.
It's kind of funny.
What I don't like is if you ever hear ads for it on the radio, they call it running point. No, it's running point.
Yeah.
Running point guard, playing
It's the-
point guard.
it's the basketball
Not running point.
Yeah.
It's not about running. It's about point.
Right.
So clearly, whoever did that ad didn't know what the show was about.
Agreed.
Anyhow,
All right.
you got the number 1 pick.
So best. No, I think there's an absolute number 1 for me.
Oh, okay.
Are we going best or favorite?
Probably favorite.
Whatever's going to get you most votes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to take my guy Jeff Bridges.
Absolutely.
Son of Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Old Man? I think it's on Hulu. It's his new show with Maybe from Arrested Development.
I have not.
It's pretty good. It's Jeff Bridges. It's obviously good.
Yeah, he's the dude. He's a legend.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, I think people know this even though he doesn't use the last name, Nick Cage. He's a Coppola. So
yes.
He comes from royalty. I don't know who his dad is specifically or who his parents are specifically, but he comes from the Coppola lineage and has changed his name to Cage to pretend he did it himself. But Nick Cage has had some absolute great performances.
Has he?
Yeah.
We've done Nick Cage movies,
Yeah,
actually. All right, Ben. I'm going to go with... See, this is... I'm picking between two here, obviously.
Okay.
And it depends on, I prefer one, but the other is more infamous.
Okay.
But I'm going to go, because this is a sports show. Well, actually, they've both been in sports movies. That's funny. I'm going to go with the head coach of the Mighty Ducks himself, Emilio Estevez.
Emilio! Can you name 5 Emilio Estevez movies and no repeats Mighty Ducks?
Mighty Ducks, Men at Work, Young Guns.
Exactly right. The Outsiders.
Okay, The Outsiders.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like his career is actually not as full as you might.
Well, I think where Charlie kept picking up roles and stuff, didn't Emilio step away from it or something?
And he just
at
wasn't
some
as good.
point?
He was the weenie.
I
By the
like.
way,
See,
if
I
you were
like.
to ever cast our friend Kevin Graham in a movie,
It'd be Emilio?
It would be Emilio. There's a lot of. They actually look pretty similar.
I like Emilio better than Charlie, but Charlie's more infamous.
Okay, I'm gonna go with. He's huge right now because he's the creator of the biggest show that anyone's talking about right now. Give me Ben Stiller. Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jerry Stiller from, comedy fame forever, but obviously for most millennials or Gen Xers, Jerry Stiller being the father, George's father on Seinfeld. His mom was also super famous. So, Ben Stiller.
All right. I can't believe this one's still on the board for me,
Okay.
actually. I'm going to go with Mr. Michael Douglas,
Okay.
son of Kirk Douglas. Douglas.
If you haven't seen Paths of Glory, it's a war movie about World War I with Kirk Douglas. It's unbelievably good. But I love Michael Douglas. Traffic, etc. Do you have a favorite Michael Douglas?
Do I have a favorite? Traffic is pretty good. I like where he played the president. What's it called?
American President?
Yeah, I think so. American President. It wasn't a bad movie.
The Game is good. Michael Douglas rules. I'm very pro Michael Douglas.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm gonna go JLC, Jamie Lee Curtis. See if I can fit this in. People don't know her mom is what's her name? She's from she's the woman in Psycho. So she was her mom is the original Scream Queen, and then she followed it up by being in Halloween. So some legacy there.
All right. I'm going to go with...
Janet Lee. Excuse me. Janet Lee.
I'm going to go with a guy that's been in a couple of my very favorite movies, Mr. Josh Brolin.
Okay. Do you have
Son
a favorite
of
Brolin?
Favorite famous actor, James Brolin.
I think you're going to win this one.
Well, yeah. I mean, No Country for Old Men is great.
Sicario.
But the American Gangster is really good.
Sicario's great. He's in Dune. He's very good in Dune. You know who I like? He doesn't do a lot, but I like him. I'm going to go with Colin Hanks. Not Chet. The other Hanks. Orange County is a very underrated, funny college, high school movie.
Is it?
Yeah. It's very funny. And Colin's good in it.
All right. I'm going to go with somebody who is absolutely infamous in our community.
Okay.
Miss Gwyneth Paltrow.
Who are her parents?
She is the daughter of Blythe Danner and Bruce Paltrow. Now, Blythe Danner is the actress in this case, and she was the mom in Meet the Parents.
Okay. That makes sense.
Bob De Niro's wife in Meet the Parents. That is Gwyneth's mom.
Does Gwyneth Paltrow have 3 good movies?
Iron Man 1,
Yeah,
2,
she
and
has
3.
3. She has 3.
I mean, people like Shakespeare in Love, I guess.
Shakespeare in Love is good.
And the
Royal Tenenbaums is good.
Brad Pitt one. Royal Tenenbaums is great.
Ripley. What's it?
The Talon of Mr. Ripley,
Talon of
which is
Mr. Ripley.
the worst movie ever made.
Oh, it's a good movie. It's a very good movie.
7
It
is
is
good, but that's more of
not.
a cameo.
Talon of Mr. Ripley is very good.
It's so bad. It's so long.
It is
doesn't
long.
make any sense. There's no freaking plot. They could have ended it like a half an hour at very least before without even condensing the rest of the movie.
Do you not know what happened in that movie? It's all plot. The movie's entirely plot.
Awful.
And I will go with Will Hardy's lookalike, Jack Quaid. Looks just like Will Hardy. I think you're going to win. I think Douglas and Brolin were good picks. Bridges, obviously, is a very great pick. Recap.
Jake, you had the number 1 pick. You went Jeff Bridges, Emilio Estevez, Michael Douglas, Josh Brolin, and Gwyneth Paltrow. Ben, you went Nicolas Cage, Ben Stiller, Jamie Lee Curtis, Colin Hanks, and Jack Quaid.
Our parents didn't do us any favors by not being famous.
Apparently that's how you make it in Hollywood.
It's the easiest way. It's the best way.
Although, would you really want to make it in Hollywood?
Yep.
As an actor?
Who on this list would you think has had a bad life?
Oh, probably all of them in a variety of terrible ways.
I think they've all lived quite charmed lives. Yeah, I mean, there's issues, but everyone has issues with their family. I think all these people probably had pretty smooth sailing. Nick Cage had some financial problem. Kept buying like dinosaur bones.
I mean, if we added up all the drugs that list has done in their life and put a
I know
total
a lot of
on
people
it.
who have done drugs without famous parents.
Oh, a couple ones that were left off. Eastwood,
The Eastwood family. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. as well.
Margaret Qualley is very big right now. She's in The Substance.
We didn't take Kate Hudson, which I thought.
Well, I think she's a terrible actor.
Really?
I love Almost Famous, but yeah, name 3 good movies she's been in. You cannot.
Well, what's the one
Exactly,
stupid rom-com
exactly,
she did
exactly,
with
exactly.
McConaughey?
That's the worst movie of all time. That's actually the worst movie of all time. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days? That's actually the worst movie.
I think I saw that once.
It
On
stinks.
like the TV version or whatever where they ran over and over again on USA or something.
Zoe Kravitz.
Yeah.
She's very good.
What's Arnold Schwarzenegger's son?
Yeah, he's in that new Lotus show, right?
Yeah. Dakota Johnson. I like her. There's a lot.
I liked her old man way more.
Yeah, agreed. But she's got some chops. She can act. Drew Barrymore. It's a good one.
Yeah, no.
I think Drew has had some hits. The Gyllenhaals are both Nepo babies.
If Drew would have left it at E.T., then I would have drafted Drew.
She's great in Scream.
She's very good in Scream.
I
I
don't-
really like her in Donnie Darko.
I don't watch horror movies. I've never seen Scream. Isn't that a Courtney Cox joint?
Yeah.
All right, stay tuned. We wrap up the show. Coming up next, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
First week of the NCAA tournament is over.
Isn't that sweet?
And the Cougars just keep on dancing. Got it! Richie Saunders! As the Cougars move on to New Jersey, the KSL Sports Zone will be with the team every step of the way.
Oh, Kata from behind with the pancake block.
Your home for every shining moment of the BYU Cougars in the NCAA tournament is right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. The sports you love, the teams you can't live without.
Get a sense of urgency.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two amigos on the airways, talking sports. They got him Matrix and also loves his tie-dye. Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, wrapping up a Wednesday's show.
Second case of deep bone thrombosis to strike the NBA. Victor Wembanyama first, out for the season. Damian Lillard yesterday, diagnosed with it as well, blood clots essentially, in his calf. It's very scary.
Yeah, and if you read his statement, he's got full support of Milwaukee, and he's doing what's best for he and his family and all the things that you would hope he would be doing. So, feel bad for Dame. Not good for Milwaukee.
No, this Milwaukee thing's going to fall apart pretty quickly.
Not good for the good doctor.
No, he doesn't know how to fix it. He's not an actual doctor, Glenn Rivers. So, We'll see. We'll see what I hope Dame's career can continue. You know, this thrombosis is not necessarily what ended the career of Chris Bosh. You know, Chris Bosh is reoccurring and was always on blood thinners, and it just makes it too dangerous to play basketball. So is this something that Dame can deal with temporarily? Victor Wembanyama can deal with temporarily and come back to the court? You certainly have to hope so. But that trade for Milwaukee just continues to look worse and worse, unfortunately.
You know what? Neither one of us liked it at the beginning.
No.
Like for either the team or the player.
I was optimistic that adding a star player could add some scoring because one of their issues was late game offense for the Bucks, but they really lost a bunch of their identity with the defense that Drew Holiday brought because they had 3 elite defensive players, really 4 when Chris Middleton was at his best, but with Giannis, who's was one of the best defensive players in the league, Brook Lopez, who was one of the best rim protectors, and then Drew, who might have been the best true guard perimeter defender in the league. It's quite a trio, and you go for Dame, and it changes everything.
Can I ask you about? I mean, this is somewhat related because you bring up those great defensive teams, and they got over the hump and got a title. Mike Budenholzer, good coach, or hey, you Giannis, go dunk on that guy.
Certainly more and more looking like that.
Because maybe he's still good coach, but Phoenix really dysfunctional.
And they're having this funny thing. The worst case scenario that's happening in Phoenix right now is they're kind of playing well down the stretch. To the point where Matt Ishbia, the owner, is going to be like, well, maybe we can
run it back.
Yeah, run it back.
Run it back.
And they need to do everything they can to blow it up. And the ironic part is that they're all playing well now because Bradley Beal is out with an injury. And of course the team is playing better. It's like, but yeah, that's going to make it worse. It's going to make him even more untradeable.
You got stuck with the old maid, man.
You got stuck with the old maid unless somebody is going to have to take on, if Bradley Beal gets traded, the Suns are going to have to include all the picks they just got from the Jazz for that first.
I don't think that's enough.
Yeah, right. It might not be enough. Actually, it would be pretty funny if the Jazz got all those
picks
back plus Bradley Beal.
If it were enough, they would have done it at the trade deadline.
Ironically, the Jazz are one of the few teams that could probably justify taking back Bradley Beal if they wanted to for a year and getting all those picks back as well. And just saying, yeah, we got the best of both worlds if you think Bradley Beal can be salvaged.
They just cut him.
Yeah, they would probably... redirect him or cut him or whatever they could do to unload him or get rid of him. Regardless, that's a funny spot to be in. Not funny for Milwaukee. And they're going to lose again. And maybe Giannis just will continue to back up that he wants to be in Milwaukee for the rest of his career. He doesn't want to play anywhere else. And that's truly probably best case scenario for them. But the hard part is you're not going to have good draft picks. You're not getting any value right now for trading Dame, clearly. Brook Lopez is not going to generate good first-round picks in return, so I don't know how you retool around Giannis with the future availability and pieces that they have.
Well, you start by getting a new consultant, because I think the good doctor led you astray last time.
Agreed.
By the way, how funny is a consultant, that type of thing? Well, you got an NBA general manager, you got a whole staff. Why do you need consultants?
Right.
Remember when Philly brought in Papa Colangelo as a consultant?
Yeah.
That's not looking real good for you, Sam. I think he might replace you with his kid.
Isaiah Thomas with the Suns that we're talking
Consultant,
about.
yeah.
Right. Get rid of the consultants.
Just get rid of just hire a good general manager.
Yeah.
Or president of basketball ops or whatever title you want to give him.
Right.
Or her, for that matter.
Yeah.
But just hire a good person. It's what, the coaching carousel is going on in college sports. I do not understand search firms. I don't get... no, you're the athletic director. Are you?
Yeah, that's your job.
That's your job, is to hire you've got to pay $1 zillion to find a search firm that is going to do nothing more than look at
Google the top 5 names.
Google the current hot coaches.
Chat GPT. Who are the best coaches in college basketball?
Or
who are the next 5? We'll hire one of them.
Or hook you up with a coach whose agent is buying them off on the other end.
Yeah.
Which happens all the time. These search firms get bought off on the other end by the agents, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, they find a job with one of their other clients who happens to be looking for a coach.
Right.
I don't understand that. Maybe there's just too many coaches that you couldn't possibly do it. But my wife works in the tech PR space, or not PR, excuse me, HR.
Uh-huh.
And companies are really good at hiring people, from a wide pool. All right. We're apparently having some. Ben and I are going to be back on the other side apparently. So stay tuned. We'll have more next with Hans and Scotty, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.